to take you guys through all of the functions of captains of a region. And there'll be a PDF document that really follows what we're walking through here too, that you can sort of use as a quick reference guide. So once we get off, and you know, I know you sit on training sometimes and it seems easy, and then you get off and it's like, oh my gosh, what do they say about this? So hopefully that helps as well. If you know, ask questions as we go along here. Don't feel like you have to keep things off until the end. Okay, so in order to access the the council pages, they are going to fall under the main LULAC site under the My LULAC button over here. So right now, if you click on that on the live site, it does take you just a standard registration page, and that will change. You can let me know for sure. Right now we have the username and password removed. I do have it linking there in preview, so really all it's going to take is just a publish, and this will then actually link directly to the My LULAC area. So let's say as of tomorrow morning, you can come in, you can click on My LULAC, and that's going to take you to one of two places. If a user is not logged in, so if I just go back 1 second, you'll see that I, in this case, am logged in. But if I was not logged in, or a member belongs to multiple councils, they're going to land on an overall landing page. Now, in most cases, your members should not be part of multiple councils at this point in time. There are some captains who might be part of different groups. Of course, some of us admin users are going to be, so that's why that's there. But for the most of your membership base, I think at this point in time, they're part of one council. In the future, that may start to change. There might start to be, let's call them like interest-based groups. Or one of the topics of feedback that we got from the convention was that there are, in some areas, let's say down in, you know, the Miami type of area, Florida area, where there are multiple councils within a close proximity. And one of the users at the convention was saying she ideally would like to see some of those combined. So down the line, that might start to change a little bit. But for right now, I think for the most part, we've received the active membership list from LULAC, and your members should have a pretty much one-to-one connection between member and council. If they don't, though, they're going to land on, we're just going to call this, you know, your overall landing page. So this isn't anything particular to a particular council. It's going to show, you know, all of the different council members. You can see all members. It's going to give you the first 10 councils, and you can see all councils, and then some, you know, different news. However, if a person tries to take any action, they are going to be prompted to log in. And so this is where one of the members on the phone here was trying to log in. This is where you'll actually come and log in to the My LULAC area. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm actually logged in here. I would simply go ahead and type in my username and password. And each of you should have gotten that. If you're having any problems logging in from this page, of course, let me and Jorge know. And once you log in, I just have this tab open here, you're going to land on your actual groups page. And so if I just go back here 1 second to the main site, and because I am logged in already, you could see if I click on My LULAC, I'm actually going to go ahead and land on my particular group page instead of that overall landing page. So we have here a +3 group. We have actually become a council of you guys. This is just one of our testing pages here. But this would be one of the council pages. You should see your particular group name. There's going to be a default picture. And you can see these are going to be particular to, you know, in this case, I am a captain of this group. So each of you should see that on your particular particular council pages, and you can always go ahead and browse all of the councils. Your members, if they logged in, would just see the message that, you are a member of this group instead of a captain. And if you click on the See All Councils, and I'm just going to do this in a new tab here so we don't have to keep hitting the back button. This is just a way that folks can, giving it a second to load up here, see all of the groups that are in there. So thus far, we have, I don't know if it's 200 and plus some groups in there, but folks can browse, and they can, once they're logged in, look at other group pages. But you can see that there's not a way to automatically join another group. You can just, see what they're all about, who their members are, but to actually become a part of this council, that is coming directly from the list that we get from LULAC National, showing who is in fact a paid and active member. So I'm going to go back here to my group page. And the first area, I'm going to sort of do this in columns here following the help document that you'll also receive. The first thing that you and a captain can do is actually change your default picture. So if you go and you click this View Photos link, this is going to show you your current profile picture. And then there's some other photos that we have uploaded throughout time here. And I can click on that and see what that looks like. And let's say I wanted to make this our profile picture. When I hover over one of the new images, it gives me the option to delete this picture completely, or I could use this as the profile picture, which is going to replace then that image of Raleigh. So if I go back to my groups page here, we should now see that instead of that picture of Raleigh that was there before. If you have a particular image that you would like to upload, a photo of your council group or of the area, you could always go ahead and browse your desktop or network. You would find the image that you want to upload and select that. And you could add any default caption and then click Add. And that's going to upload this photo, and you would see it appear as a thumbnail under this area. And again, you could go ahead and make that your default profile picture.
Dee, can I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
Sometimes when I've done some web pages, I've noticed that when I try and add a picture, they tell me that it's like the pixels aren't large enough or small enough or something like that. Are we going to have a problem with that? Like, does it have to be a certain kind of picture that we can add?
I would suggest picking more landscape photos. If you just look at this area here, it's wider than higher. So landscape rather than portrait layout photos are going to work better. Now we're going to resize it into this area here. So if, let's say, you upload a very small photo, 100 by 100, when it tries to fit that, it's going to stretch it out, and you're going to see it get pixelated. If you do a portrait, it could end up taking up more vertical space and pushing things down and leaving some over here. So I think those are overall the guidelines, but you don't have to upload a picture in a exact particular size. We will resize that to match it. It's just your landscape layout is going to look better than your portrait. And let me just return to this group page here one second, and let me just see if I can tell you overall. That's definitely not correct. I could get you, and I could add it to that help document, what the ultimate width is going to be, so that you don't pick something that's, greatly smaller than that, and it has to stretch that out.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be like JPEG, or there's no specifics on that. We can by size of the pixels and stuff.
Oh, right. It does have to be a web-based image format, so that could be be your JPEG, that could be a GIF, that could be a PNG file. So it has to be one of those three, which are your web-ready images. Sometimes, like, if you take a screenshot, it makes it like a TIFF file. There's, I don't know, a BNP, I think, extension sometimes you get on images. Those actually are not web images. So you wouldn't use something like that. But your JPEG, your GIF, your PNGs, any of those three, which are the most common, will be accepted.
Great.
Okay. As you guys ask questions, I'm just going to, if I pause for a second, I'm just taking a note on the help document so I can be sure to add that in. Okay, so we've uploaded our photo here. Next down in the left column is the description of the council. And so to edit that, you're going to click this little edit button. And let me just note too, you guys, when you're logged in as captains, you see these. Obviously, visitors, members, they do not see that when they're logged in. So you can click the edit button. And this is going to bring you to a page where you can change the group name description, names, the description. You could add additional description information. We would have the council number and council type. And for your guys' councils, we have this information, so yours should already be populated since we're not actually a council. We just don't have that in my test group here. And so you can update any of this contact information. And then you can also see who is currently a member and the captains of your group. So again, these are predefined by those membership lists that we're getting from LULAC National. However, you could say that, all right, GD member is actually no longer active, and you could remove them from the group by clicking that and updating members. Or you could say that, all right, Rusty also should be a captain, but this D. Hannigan should not be, and you could update that member information. And once I do that, we'll see that my D member is no longer there, and my original record is no longer a captain.
Excuse me, Deirdre?
Uh-huh.
Is there a maximum captains, or we can have as many captains as we want?
Yeah, you can have as many captains as you want, and basically what the becoming a captain gives you the ability to go through and edit, a lot of these functions that we're going to walk through today. But yeah, you can have as many captains and as many members as needed.
Now, with the updated members, I see it's easy to remove somebody from the group, but like for a youth group where we have, really, when they graduate, they move on to young adults, etc. So, and that happens a lot right after the national convention, right when school begins again. So, is there a way? Do we wait for the national LULAC to put their names in, or can we update by adding names, removing and adding names to the group?
That's a good question. Now, technically, yes, we can turn on the ability to add members. It's a question, though, I do have to just refer to Jorge and LULAC National on, because, at least that's where my understanding is, the membership is tied to some offline verification as well as payments. Those payments can be different across regions, so I'm just not clear on if somebody's moving from a youth to a next group, is there some offline action that needs to happen? And that might be something that you guys as captains should be able to define, but I'm just going to table that as a question for Jorge and Brent at National and just make sure, can we turn that on? If, let's say, if we can go ahead and say, yes, you guys can also start adding in members, then it would be on this same screen, and it would be an additional button to add new members, and it would basically give you the ability to find or add a record to add those into your group membership.
Yes, it just dues until January, and but kids start joining in, as new members already in August. For example, August 15th, just in a few weeks, we'll be getting new members, and usually we don't prorate, for the end of the year. We just pay new dues in January.
So I think we would, this is Brent, I think we'd want to add on that button so that they can add and subtract members.
Okay.
I think ultimately when it comes down to, the elections or something along those lines, we go by the list that's maintained by the membership office. But
Okay.
it's fine for the purposes of this site to be able to add. That way it's more.
Great, thank you.
Okay, sounds great. So we will get that feature added in there. Once that goes in, again, you'll see another option here to update that, and I'll also add that into that help document. Okay, any questions on this page other than what we went through? All right, I'm going to go back to the groups page then. So moving down the line here, next we're just showing the council leaders as well as the council members. If you ever click on, any of these names, these images, you'll always go ahead and you can see that user's profile. And I'm going to go back to the main groups page. Now, as captains, you see this option to send email to your group members. So if I click on that, you're going to come to a page which actually allows you to send out emails to your entire membership. So it's going to show you who those 5 recipients are. You'll input your subject. There's a title on top of your message, and then the body of your message. And then your signature. And by default, it's going to look like it's coming from you and your email address, since we know who's logged in. And then you can go ahead and you could preview and see what this mailing is going to look like. And I actually see that this needs to be updated here. So I will get that correct formatting in there. But you can go ahead and see, this is just our test template in here. That's why there's some Latin and such. See what that mailing looks like. You could make any changes. And then you could also send a test email. So it's going to, by default, it's going to go to my email address that I'm logged in on. And we highly, highly suggest doing that. There are things that you cannot catch when you're just previewing what an HTML or text message looks like. That can definitely change once it hits the web. So for example, if there were ever images added, but the image path had spaces in it, we can show that image because it's right here on the same server, but once it hits the web, it's going to break. So I always, always highly, highly suggest use preview for your initial check. Definitely send a test message just to make sure everything looks good in your email client. And then when you are happy with that, you'd go ahead and send that email. And that's going to send this email out in bulk to your group members. And then we have a little email stats page. And obviously I'm clicking on it right now, so it's still preparing, but it started. It's going to send to 5, and it just hasn't finished yet. And that is how you can go ahead and send emails to all of your group members. The next topic down here is the upcoming events. So this is going to show all events that have been created by your council, whether by you as captains, your members can submit new events, and also other councils who feel that it's relevant for your area to join, they can also include other councils, and I'm going to show you how to do that in 1 second. But so you might see, this is an event that I added, but you might see events that you and your team members have added, but you also might see some other miscellaneous ones where other councils felt it was relevant for your council. So a couple links up here, we can see all of the upcoming events for this group. In this case, we just have one here. But you can also submit an event. And here, this submit the event link as well as this post new event, these are going to go to the same page. And this is where you can add in a new event. So you'll put in your date, the event name, and you can see by default it's going to put it into the +3 group events. But let's say, I'm in the New York area, maybe there's a number of councils around here, and it's not so particular to my council, it might be relevant to others. You can put in I want to look for everybody within 25 miles of this zip code, and you can see that it's found a number of other councils. So I could say, hey, okay, this is also relevant for this council here, and I could select that. So now when it gets posted, it's going to show up under the +3 events, but also under the New York events. You put in the description. Your time and time. And if you want members to be able to RSVP, you can check that off or not. If it doesn't matter, you can leave that unchecked. And you're going to save your event. So now we've saved this event, and it now also has its own web page. So if we click on that, you'll see this is a unique URL about this event, which you can use in email campaigns or whatever other purposes you want. It's also just noting that it's going to be pulled into the council home pages when that date approaches. You can submit another event, and let me just go to my page here. You can see that you can also create an event blog entry for this. So if I click on this link, it just means that in addition to showing up on the upcoming events, you could also create a related blog entry, which would then get pulled into various areas around the site, from your group page to a recent news down in these blog entries here. So you would go ahead and put in this information, and you can preview this. And we're going to go through adding an entry in all of these features in 1 second. I just want to focus on the events for the moment. You would see what it looks like, and you could submit that. And so now this event, when we go back to our groups page in 1 second, we have our blog post. You can see that folks can also provide their comments. And then if we go back, I was hitting that for comments. Okay, and now we have a comment in that. Now if we go back to my group, you'll see that there are now 2 events. And in terms of, in this case, because I'm logged in as me looking at that, it's just letting me know that there are no members who have RSVP'd. But once we sort of go through this initial setup, I can log into another account, and then we can go back and take a look at that, and you can see what that page looks like to another user. Any questions there?
Is there a way for us to have a national event show up on all the sites?
You know what, Brent, there isn't at the moment. However, we can certainly do that. So I am either envisioning two ways here. It would either be maybe another option for all regions. Do you want to give that option to anybody posting events, or would that be something that the national office just has the option to do?
I think that would be the national office,
Okay.
probably.
Okay.
But we also have the landing page, like the general landing page, where we can promote whatever we want, right?
Correct. And Jorge, I'm going to step back and talk to that in 1 second. Let me just note down here. Okay. So Jorge, on each of the group landing pages, let me just get back to my group landing page here, which I think maybe we need to add an option over here just to my group so you can always easily get back to that. The area right now that is designated for LULAC National is this one section up here where you can always post some story, whether it's welcome text initially, whether it's promoting, a convention coming up, anything like that. And that, at this point, is the same both on groups as well as that overall landing page. Let me just go to that too. So right now, this section would be the exact same as this section because a limited number of folks are going to be getting to this page. It's just if they're not tied to a council or they have multiple councils. So we wanted to make sure that everybody saw that. What we could do, though, is really look at this as more of a overall, and so maybe the events that show up are only national events. We might want to talk through that a little bit more. We could certainly have this overall page do slightly different things in the group pages. I just don't want to maybe think too far into that because some folks might never really get to this page. You know what I mean?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so I'm just going to mark that down too to just consider where. Show all just national. Okay. So going back then to the group page, that brings us then to this center section. Oh, perfect. So we already started talking about this. So this content right here will be defined by LULAC National for any sort of important messages. The next section down, the council blog, this is automatically going to pull in the content from the latest 5 entries that you as captains or your group members have posted. So, on the +3, this is particular to the blog post on the +3 group. So it's going to look different than any of your other council pages. And then underneath it is the LULAC News, which is automatically pulling from the LULAC National site. And so, Jorge, nothing you need to do there. It's automatically pulling from, looks like the entire news section there, and it's going to pull in the latest 5. And then, of course, you could always click and see all of the council blog posts for all of the LULAC news, which is going to take you back to the national site.
You say LULAC News? Is that to be LULAC National News?
Correct, yes. Right, so we have the council specific and then just some general LULAC National news. And I could add that in there, LULAC National, if that would make sense for everybody. Okay, so there's nothing really here as captains that you guys would be physically changing. LULAC National might be changing this, and then in order for you to change this is basically creating a new blog entry, which then takes us over to the far right column here. And this is your, essentially your navigation for the My LULAC area. You know, if you click on any of this navigation, this is going to take you back to the main site. So this is really just particular to your functions under My LULAC. So our first option up here is My Profile. If I click on that, this is going to take you to your specific, your personal profile page. And if we go here, you have the ability to change your photos. So again, seeing all photos, and you can add one. Or of course, you can add photos. It's going to take you back here, and that's going to work that same exact way as the group photo that we walked through. If no photos provided, they have this little cartoonish character. We then have the basic information that was uploaded, but you can go ahead and edit your profile. And so the first tab here is the private information, so meaning information that LULAC National could see, your basic contact information, and then you have the public information, so what other people will be able to see on your profile page. So you could display a public email or not, and then your name as it should appear, your city, state, and any interests. And so these are just the pieces that would appear publicly. The next tab over is your email and password. So this is where you can come in and change the password. So right now everybody has a default one. When you log in, you'll come into My Profile and you can change that password. And so you do have to put in your current one. You'd put in that default that Jorge passed along, and then put in the new one that you would like to use. And save that. Next over is the site preferences, and this just allows you to change how blog and comments are displayed. I think these are sort of the defaults, the commonly used ones, but you could certainly change those. So flat, you know, if you're looking at a blog entry that has 15 comments, your nested shows you sort of someone commenting on a comment, or if you just want to display those all as sort of an initial comment. So those replies and sent it. You're sorting. If folks do rate blog entries, you can show those or ignore those ratings. Can you rate do you want to rate comments or not? And you can also change your time zone. This is sort of a default question we have in here, send me email updates. That's actually more defined on the LULAC side of mailing sites going out. And by default, it's always checked here. And then last over is My Files, and this is just going to show you any images or files that you have uploaded as a result of new blog entries. So if you ever wanted to go back and find an image or maybe a PDF that you uploaded, this is just going to show you all of those. And so that you can also, you know, rename things, delete them. That just gives you one listing of all of those media files that you may have uploaded. So I think primarily the two tabs that you would be pretty much using is going to be My Profile and your email password. Obviously, if your email ever changes, you'll want to keep that updated. Your password, once you first log in, you'll want to go ahead and change that from the default. And then I would suggest just going in, looking at your profile, and making sure that it's actually reflecting, your name, your area, everything correctly, and how you want it to be displayed. Once you've made those changes, you'll just click Save all the changes. And then those changes would actually be reflected on your profile. As we move down your profile, this is going to show you all of the friends that you're a part of. And let me just go. I'm going to just show you one of my other users because I am tied to some folks. Let me do that. It's my super user. I didn't want to use it as my general login because it has some other options that aren't applicable to you guys. What did I? Okay, so if I go to my groups here, let's see. Sorry guys, I have so many users. Okay, there we go. Alright, so under this one I actually have some friends here, so you can see it showing who I am friends with. And to find additional friends, you can click Find Friends and search for that person by name, last name, username, email. And let's say Jorge. Okay, and I could select Jorge down here. And I do want to add Jorge as a friend. Oh, and I've already tried that with him. So it's just letting me know that we already do have a friend request waiting. So if he gets that email and he accepts that, he will actually be added to my friend list. Now, by default, you are going to be friends with all of the members of your group. Why? Sorry, guys. Let me just see where I got here. Oh. Let me close that window. Okay. Well, now I'm going to stay on this one. Okay. Find friends, your invitees, so I should see under here, I have friends request waiting for you. So this is one of my test members here that had sent me a request. And so I can ignore, deny, or in this case, I want to confirm, yes, I do want to become a friend with Deirdre, the other Deirdre. And if I go back and let me see your invitees again. Okay, I have no request because I accepted that. So now, when I go back,
Okay, so you said that we automatically, by default, become friends with the people in our group. Does that mean the other councils throughout the nation as well?
no, that doesn't. and I'm sorry, I have so many tabs open, I'm getting a little confused between my different users here. So let me get back to where I was. So by default, you will be friends with people of your council only, but you can search for other council members and go through that invite process. So it'll say, oh, I found, this person I met at the convention. I want to become friends with them. They get an email saying, hey, Alayla wants to become friends. Do you accept? If they do, then you guys get connected. So they do have to have that accept process, and then at that point they will become members of your group here.
Is that only through email, or is that also through Facebook?
No, that is through email. There's a whole inbox through here. Okay. Next down, I'm sorry?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When this goes live and this is launched, so what will be the first step for members? Do they have to create their own account first? Is that what it is?
They do. They will need to come to my LULAC, and they will go through the account registration, and we can go through that sort of at the end here. Just mark that down. Now, we already have their information, so if they only go through the registration so that they can create a username and password. But once we have them, if we see that, hey, we already have this record, we know this person is an active member, they automatically, have access to their group and they're linked up to it.
Okay.
They just go through this initial sort of sign-up registration so that, they've actively come on, they can create their username and password. You can confirm, hey, now they're active and it just connects up. There's no other verification that needs to happen. Once they create that, we know it's them, and they'll automatically land on their group page or their council page. Okay, so we have, you see all your friends. We've gone through how you can find other folks. You'll see your invitees. And see all, if I had more than 5 here, I think we showed 6 by default. You can see all of your friends. Moving down, then you have the councils that you are a part of. So as an admin, you can see I have a couple test ones. So I am showing 2. Again, for most of your folks, they're going to have the one council that they're a part of at this point in time. We then have photos. So these are photos that I've uploaded in this account that I have. You can see all of those photos. We just looked at that page under the profile page, and then the different events. So this is based, and then over here is posts that I have made. So this is really like your, personal page where people can learn more about you, but you can also use it to see, do your sort of friend management, just confirm where you're members of. You can check out your different photos, your events that are coming up, and then any of your post comments, just to sort of see what you've done online. Okay, I'm going to just go back to my other profile here, just so we are looking specifically at the options that are available to you guys. So I have to log out now. It all recognizes it as, same session, obviously, because I'm on the same browser here, so that's why it gets a little confused when you log in and out as different accounts. You guys should not have that problem. Okay. All right, so we've gone through these profile tasks. So your next option down then is the inbox. And this is where you can send private messages or email messages to your friends. So if I click contacts here, you're going to see by default it brings up all of my contacts or council members, and then anyone else that you have manually connected with and verified that you are in fact friends. And you can say I want to compose a new message. I want to send it to Alice and Rusty by clicking on their names. Okay, and you would send that message, and that's going to send it to these users, and they are then going to, when they go to their profile, see that they have a new message in their inbox. Sorry. With messages, you'll see those that are waiting, and as they come in, you can delete messages, read or unread, sort of your standard, actions within an email client. And then down at the bottom here, you see my inbox, where you can also just send quick messages to as well from here. Okay, any questions just before we move on to the others in my profile or my inbox? And the one thing actually I should just note here on my inbox, it will send an email alert to the real email address that you provided in my profile. So if we just go back to my profile and you have provided should do it here, the email address, and we call basically here real email address. That's where you actually want messages to go to, but you might have another email, that you want to be publicly available. Maybe you have a Gmail account that you use for more public type of communications. You could put that on. That's where your members might send messages to if they come across that. But when alerts or messages that we are sending, or if somebody sends you a message via my LULAC, it's your real email address that's going to get that email alert. So, maybe it's your LULAC email account that you want, your real and important messages to go to. That's what you would have here, but then you have, your Gmail account that you just show publicly on the site. And that's what that difference is between those two. So it would be that real email that would say, Deirdre sent you a message from my LULAC, so that you could log in and check that out. Okay. Next down is posting a diary entry. And we call it a diary entry. It is essentially a blog entry. We just use that terminology because you usually think of blogs as, there's one main blog, your homepage blog. And diaries are more following a certain stream of communication, or maybe from one user, or in this case, each council essentially has its own blog. So in terms of our terminology, we call them diary entries because they are specific to groups, whereas, there might be down the line an overall, maybe blog for all councils, and in that case there would be a separate entry to post to the, overall council's blog versus your diary entry. So just in terms of terminology, just always consider that is, diary entry is a blog entry. So you click on that, and it's going to bring you to your input screen. And you'll put in your title, any tags. And so tags are a way to categorize your different entries, and also every entry is going to show that tag. So let's say this is related to the convention. on the front end of this entry, you'll see a little tag, a clickable tag for convention, and if you click on that, you're going to get a listing of all entries that have been tagged with convention. So that could fall, across the different groups, and you could see all entries that have been tagged with convention. And then the main site content, I'm going to grab some here. So this is what's going to appear on the landing page, so that regional landing page, that teaser text, and this is what's going to appear, that full story, when they click read more, and it's going to be a long version of it. And you can see that there's some little help content here and there, which doesn't seem to be coming up. All right, I will figure out why that is, but that's just going to show you what HTML tags are allowed in case you ever did want to add any formatting. And let me just note down that error message I got there 1 second. Okay. So this is going to be the contents of your entry. And then as you go across, you can see that there's a number of other options that you could add in. If you wanted to add in a poll, and if you want to allow multiple answers or not, and you'll put in your different answers. And then let's say you wanted to add a photo. You browse your desktop or network, and let me just see if I have any photos here I could grab. Okay, and if there's a caption, and you'll see as you go along, there's always a little preview button here so you can see what your entry is starting to look like. So we have my photo, copyright, my entry, my poll. And let's go, so we are on photos, video, and I have to see why video and audio aren't appearing. Now, in the past, both the video and audio have been actually uploading the video files. However, what should be in here, if it was appearing correctly here, would be a place to just input a YouTube URL. So I think that's probably the most common way that folks are going to add those in. We then have the options. This is just if you want to allow full HTML, plain text, or auto format. I don't think you guys would ever really need to change that. You can always just allow auto formatting for these options. And then again, the preview tab. And you can go back and edit that. Or if you are happy with this, you could go ahead and submit that entry. And that's now going to post onto my PlusThree Council site. Okay, any questions in terms of the diary, adding in the diary or blog entries? Okay. Next down is the posting an event. We did go through that from the profile screen. That's just the exact same thing. And then we have here the start a new group, which I'm actually going to remove. I don't believe we are allowing that at this point. So that will, and you'll see in the help document, it just says not applicable right now. Okay. Moving on down this, there's nothing else that really gets edited in this column. This map here just always will automatically update with the number of groups that are in that area. You scroll through, and that happens automatically as those lists are updated. In terms of events, you can see events under My Councils, or I could click the tab and see all council events. And obviously that will start to grow and be different as other events are changed. I've just been uploading them all into it thus far. You then have your blog posts. So this is going to show all of the recent posts. And then if folks go ahead and actually rate entries, you'll start to see different popular ones. And then there are entries that could be featured as well. So if LULAC National ever wanted to feature any entries, those would appear there. And Jorge, that would be something on the super user training that we go through, where I can show you how to feature articles. And then we have my inbox, where, let me just go back to a groups page here 1 second, because I think I explained this incorrectly before. This is, okay, perfect. So this is actually so that if you are on, you found, oh, Rusty, I met him at the convention. When I'm on his page, it lets you send a quick little message specifically to that user. So I apologize before. I think I said you could send it to your all groups, do a quick message here, but this actually populates with where you're on, so you can send quick messages like that as well. So this actually took us through, I think, all of the functions that you can do as captains within the council pages.